Hello, my dear. You do not know who I am, but I know you. I'm one of the 3 demons that were assigned to you at birth. You see, some people in this world are destined for greatness, destined to live happy, fulfilling lives. You, I am afraid, are not one of those people, and it is our job to make sure of that. Who are we? Oh yes, of course, how rude of me. Allow me to introduce us. Shame is my younger brother, the demon on your left shoulder. Shame tells you that you're a freak, that those thoughts you have are not normal, that you will never fit in. Shame whispered into your ear when your mother found out you were playing with yourself as a child. Shame is the one who makes you hate yourself. Fear sits on your right shoulder. He is my older brother, as old as life itself. Fear fills every dark corner with monsters, turns every stranger on a dark street into a murderer. Fear stops you from telling your crush how you feel. He tells you it's better not to try than to let people see you fail. Fear makes you build your own prison. Who am I then? I'm the worst of your demons, but you see me as a friend. You turn to me when you have nothing else, because I live in your heart. I'm the one who forces you to endure, the one who prolongs your torment. Sincerely, Hope. Sleep well. During Hurricane Gustav, I evacuated to a church in Baton Rouge with a friend and his family. At the same time, there was an entire nursing home's worth of old people staying in the church. My friend, his family, and myself all shared one room together. In this church, there was one bathroom that was large, similar to something that would be in an elementary school. One night during the storm, my friend and I made a trip to the bathroom. The lights had since gone out, in the middle of a hurricane and all. The church had a musty, eerie feel to it, kind of like when you turn out the AC in a house for a few days. The area surrounding the church was also dead quiet since there was no electricity in the area. The bathroom was several halls over from our room, so we grabbed our flashlights and set out. While walking down one long hall, we shined our flashlights ahead, and there, at the end of the hall, sat an old man in a wheelchair, in the middle of the night with no one around. Now this hall was incredibly long, so we could make him out, but we couldn't really see all his facial features. Once we grasped what we saw, we turned and looked at each other, semi-freaked out. Then we shined our flashlights back to where he was, and there was nothing there. It was as if he had vanished. No signs, no sound, nothing. Needless to say, we hauled ass back to the room. This week, I moved into a new house. The house itself is lovely, with 2 stories, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a fenced-in backyard, and a big kitchen. The tree in the front yard is tall and strong and does a fine job of blocking my living room windows from the street. The water pressure is fabulous, the closets are large, and the wood floors are new. The only problem I've had so far is that my neighbors are rather loud. Our houses connect on one side, so we share a living room, bedroom, and kitchen wall. All day long, I can hear them banging around their kitchen, watching loud movies, talking, and their small child crying. It's a bit trying, but nothing I can't live with, I suppose. Now to get directly to the thing that really concerns me. It started when I was in the shower this morning. I usually like to have music playing while I shower, but today I decided that I'd rather just enjoy the silence. The activity was fairly uneventful until, as I was in the middle of washing my hair, I heard my neighbors talking from the other side of the wall. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but it sounded strange. It seemed that they were mumbling something, whispering and occasionally laughing quietly. but I couldn't figure out how I could hear them if they were evidently speaking quietly. I thought that they must be standing absurdly close to their side of the wall in order to be so audible in the midst of my shower. I didn't think too much of this incident until I was leaving for work an hour later. As I started to open my car door, I turned back to the house, feeling like I'd forgotten something. As I looked up at my bedroom window, I realized that the neighbor's house shares a wall on the opposite side of the house from the bathroom. On the other side of the bathroom lies my bedroom closet. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment. My father and mother sleep in one bedroom and I share the other bedroom with my sister. My sister always goes to bed before me because she has to get up early for work. It was just after 10 o'clock in the evening when I came home. My sister was getting ready to go to sleep. I was in the living room using the computer, but I felt tired and decided to go to bed early. I went into the bedroom I shared with my sister. The light was already off. "Are you asleep?" I asked. "Almost," she replied in an irritated voice. "I still have to wash," I said. "Lie down," she grumbled. "It's too late. Wash in the morning." No, I said lie down," my sister growled. I stopped at the doorway and looked at my sister. Her face was angry. It even scared me. I went down the hallway to the bathroom, but it was already occupied. I stood waiting in the hallway for a few minutes and my mother came out of the living room. "Dad's taking a long time in there," I said, gesturing towards the bathroom. "No, he's in the living room watching TV," my mother said. I looked at her in surprise. "He's watching TV?" Then the bathroom door opened and my sister came out. I was shocked. "What's wrong?" she asked when she saw the look on my face. But who's in the bedroom?" I stammered. I rushed down the hallway to the bedroom and turned on the light. The beds were empty. There was no one there, just a pile of crumpled clothes. I still asked myself the question, what would have happened if I laid down when my sister told me to? Hello there. It's funny how after all this time, I still don't know your name. But it doesn't even matter anyway, as long as I know you. Yeah, I know you seem confused right now. I know you enough to tell you this message will give you a reaction like that, but you shouldn't be. Well, at least not for long. You see, I was with you this whole time. I was right next to you for the last few years or so. I was watching you sleep, heard you talk with your friends, and I know what you had for lunch, usually every day. You almost saw me quite a few times. I had to hide from you a lot. You know that time when you felt someone behind you, and just as you turn around to look, no one was there? Well, there was. You only didn't see me. As I was watching you, I realized that you're actually a good person, and I grew quite fond of you. And for the last few days, I was trying to find a way to talk to you, but I knew you would be afraid when you hear my voice, just like last time. Instead, I got a better idea. I saw you using this device quite a lot, and I saw you like to visit a website like this. So I wrote this message to you, hoping you would read it one day. Now that you are reading it, I told you what I wanted to tell you. I think now you are prepared enough to see me. We can finally be friends. I will show you my face tonight. In winter of 1944, with overtaxed supply lines in the Ardennes, a German medic had completely run out of plasma, bandages, and antiseptic. During one particularly bad round of mortar fire, his encampment suddenly became a bloodbath. The survivors claimed to hear above the screams and barked commands of their lieutenant, someone cackling with almost girlish glee. The medic made his rounds during the fire in almost complete darkness, as he had so many times before, but never this short on supplies. The bombardment moved to the other ends of the line. Most men dropped off to sleep in the still dark hours of the morning. New Year's Day, 1945. The men awoke at first light with screams. They discovered that their bandages were not typical bandages at all, but hunks and strips of human flesh. Several men had been given fresh blood transfusions, with no blood supplies available. Each treated man was almost completely covered, head to toe, with the maroon stain of blood. The medic was found, sitting on an ammunition tin, staring off into space. When one man approached him, tapped him on the shoulder, his tunic fell off to reveal all skin, muscle, and sinew had been stripped from his torso, and his body almost completely dried of blood. In one hand was a scalpel, and in the other, a blood transfusion vial. None of the men treated for wounds that night in that camp saw the end of January 1945.
Please, I am literally begging you, I say, but the executioner only sighs and gives me a truly sorrowful look as he slides the IV into my arm. The chaplain sits beside me. Once he pushes the button, the drugs will be administered in quick succession. Unconsciousness will occur in roughly 30 seconds and death soon after that, he explains. Even though I have heard it so many times before already. Any final words? Just again, I beg you not to do this, I say. The chaplain nods sadly, sorrowful that I did not face my executioner with a clean conscience. That's the thing though, I haven't murdered anyone. It's been this way my entire life. I don't know why, but whenever I would accidentally hurt myself, others near me would receive the wound. Once I got a paper cut in class that caused the 3 people around me to bleed from their fingers. In high school, I was in a car accident, and even though my side of the car was hit, my girlfriend developed a broken leg. I'm always very careful. I take care of myself, trying to stay in the very best of health. But when I was mugged by that trio and he shot me in the face, their faces exploded, not mine. And when the cops came, they found me kneeling beside their bodies, trying to figure out what to do, and stupidly holding their gun. Around 30 seconds after the execution started, I see both the executioner and the chaplain fall to the floor with a hard thump. I begged you, I repeated sadly. Where are you? I scream, panicked. I run through the abandoned farm. I can't find her, not in the old house, not in the barn. I run into the empty field, heart racing. As I scan the area, I run into a mound of dirt and trip, sprawling to the ground. Getting up, it hits me. Abandoned farm. I tripped over freshly tilled earth. Crouching down, I start frantically clawing with my hands, scooping handfuls of dirt, and I hit something hard. It was wood. Are you in there? I cry, pressing my ear to the wood. I hear muffled cries. I start digging again, but realize it's taking too long. Looking around, I see a garden shed. I sprint to it, ripping the door open. I see a shovel, still caked in dirt. Probably the same one that the bastard buried her with. I grab it. Running back, I started digging with purpose. Soon the wooden box is exposed. I toss the shovel and rip open the crate. She stares back at me, eyes wide, bound, gagged, but still alive. I sigh with relief. Thank God.
I reach into my bag, pulling out my rag and chloroform. I crouch down, placing it over her face. She struggles, faints. I toss her over my shoulder. "Oh, hell," my brother says as I walk back to the truck with a smirk. "You found her." "Yep, you almost had me, though," I laughed. "All right, my turn." "Where did you put her?" I gesture to the creek area. "Somewhere over there. Drowning's an issue, though." "Jerk," he says, running off. I smile, watching him go. I love adult hide-and-seek.
There were 3 boys in a certain school who were always causing trouble. One day the 3 friends were hanging out in the hallway at lunchtime. They saw a girl go into the school bathroom and decided to play a trick on her. They locked the bathroom door and stood outside waiting to see what would happen. A few minutes later they saw the doorknob turn, then it began to rattle. They heard the girl's voice calling out. They chuckled and didn't answer her. She began knocking on the door and begging to be let out. They just stood there, laughing and teasing her as she pounded on the door. After a minute or two, the girl started crying and screaming at them to unlock the door. The 3 boys felt guilty and decided to let her out before they got in trouble. One boy unlocked the door and waited, but the girl didn't open it. "It's open," he shouted, but there was no answer. The boys opened the door and looked inside. The bathroom was completely empty. They checked all the stalls and called out the girl's name, but there was no response. There were no windows in the bathroom, and the only way out was the door. By this time, the 3 boys were very creeped out. They ran out of the bathroom and down the hallway. They found the girl standing outside the front door of the school talking to a teacher. When they demanded to know how she got out of the bathroom, she was puzzled. "But I didn't go to the bathroom today," she said.
The doctor pulled the stethoscope ear tips out and hung the device around his neck. "Mr. Weatherby, all your tests have come back negative, and my examination shows nothing abnormal." Adam knew what was coming next. "I'm not crazy, doctor." "I'm sorry, but there is no physical reason for why you occasionally lose control of your hands. A psychologist can help." "I don't need therapy, I need answers. They seem to have a life all their own. I can't hold a job. I'm under investigation for assault. I almost killed my neighbor. This can't go on. I'll try anything at this point." After 2 weeks on a new medication, Adam saw no progress and grew increasingly depressed. He was convinced that despite what the doctor said, it was not a psychological problem. That night, a frustrated and angry Adam sat in a chair and drank bourbon. Drunk and hopeless, he stumbled into the garage and slowly started the table saw. Then, he lowered his wrists toward the screaming blade. Detective Armstrong entered the garage, where several uniformed officers stood over the blood-soaked body. "So, what do we got?" he asked, taking in the blood-splattered scene. "This is a weird one, Detective." "Well, how so?" "Take a look at the body. He apparently chopped off his hands with a table saw and bled to death." Armstrong knelt down. And we can't find his hands anywhere." Thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. But I've been just plain creepy, and I'll catch you in the next video.